Welcome back to Screentop 101. I'm going to hit three things really quick because um, they matter a little bit, but they don't matter as much as the things that I'm going to start getting into that are a little more complicated. So it's easier to just hit all three right now. Guides are going to give you the ability to add basically rules, text, and information to your game. So I can create a new guide at any point by hitting this plus. I can name it, how to, and then in the text I can say, this is a great game. Um, Draw a card, and I can save that. And now you'll notice there's this little question mark that pops up over here, and I can go to my guide and read the text that I just put in. I can have multiple guides. Each one will come up with its own link. The text over here I've found is more helpful for like if you have variants, if you have like clarifications, that sort of thing. In general, I like to have reference cards on the table that are mostly self reliant. But this can be a useful tool to help players kind of feel their way through the game, have extended text, examples, that sort of thing. This is also a place where, if you wanted to, you could put navigation information that is more contextual to your game. If your game has a lot of tile movement at the same time, talking about how to select multiple tiles, that sort of thing really helps. So that's guides. Then we've got seats, and this is where you'll set up like where players can sit. Again, this game is a two-player game, so I've got blue left and red right, which are the two players. The judge, which is an admin role, which can create and destroy elements on the board, and then spectators, which can see both hands but cannot, but aren't playing the game. For a given seat, you've got a color, which is going to determine what color is indicated next to their profile picture and name when they jump on. It's also helpful to save the hex text of the color and maybe put it into another file so that you can very easily copy it over anytime you want to apply that color to an element for that player. In this case, I've got a hand zone that has the red player's color and a hand zone that has the blue player's color. You can also change the role. This is where you set whether they're an admin or not, and you can change the name. I'll usually put, beyond just color, what icon represents them, whether they're on the left or right, up or down, that sort of thing. I believe games can have up to 10 seats, so it's definitely within the realm of a lot of party games. When you are playtesting, one thing to just keep in mind, you should always add at least one extra seat for yourself that can see everything so that everybody can play, and then you also can manipulate the board, do the teach, that sort of thing. Teaching the game when you can't manipulate anything because you don't have a seat is very, very difficult. If you have settings on seats that you want to duplicate, you can click these little dots to clone a seat. You can delete seats, that sort of thing. All right, and then finally we've got surfaces. This game doesn't use any surfaces currently, but basically surfaces are new instance of of tabletop space that have new things on it. So right now, this is one tabletop space that has the game which is playable. If I wanted to, I could create a new tabletop space. And now in the bottom left corner, there is a surface icon that you can click on and navigate to the new surface, which at the moment doesn't have anything on it. It just has this axis because we haven't put anything there. Additionally, you can navigate between the surfaces by pressing the number for the level of the surface. So in this case, I can press 1 to go back to the main surface, 2 to go back to the second surface. And then if I wanted to, something that's kind of fun is I can pick up these and press 2, and now I've brought them to surface 2. And I can pick them back up, hit 1, and now I've brought them back. There is also if you right click, you can go to move to and send stuff to that surface. But the pick up and just hit the number I've found is very easy. And just like with player seats, I can copy or clone one of my previous surfaces. And now I've got a third surface that is identical to the first. And maybe this surface has a different deck of cards for playtesting. I can swap that out. I can, maybe have the table already set up in order to do teaching. So I could call this the demo table. And now if I go to the bottom left, you can see I'm on the demo table. I can go back to surface 1. A couple other things to point out. When you start a new surface, it's going to look like this. I really like changing the black background color to solid black. I'm actually controlling the demo table right now. I like setting the background color to solid black. I just think it looks a lot nicer with elements that really pop out on top of it. The axis will still show. One thing you can do is you can drop the transparency bar on the axis to 0 to make it go away. That's something that you can do for a lot of things if you don't want them to show up. You can set an asset for the background. So if in this instance I want this to be in the background, I'll need to change this such that you can actually see it. So now this is in the background, and that is sometimes useful for if you want to have, just a background image for thematic reasons, or you want to have a grid that can't be manipulated or moved at all by the players. That's something that you can fiddle with. Asset tiling, I can set this to repeat, and now my image, that's a lot of words, but that will tile instead. Asset scale, I can set to say 0.5, and now it's smaller. Player cursors, you can hide player cursors, which is sometimes necessary for cooperative or deduction games. I've mostly found that is a huge headache because when you're doing the teach, you can't point at things. But you can set that based on the surface. So you can hide cursors on one surface and show them on another. Rotation orientations. All surfaces start with 4. So if a player wants to sit down to, for instance, here, I think I turned it off on this one. Nope. They could sit at this side of the table, this side of the table, this side of the table, or there. I mostly try to orient my games such that everybody is looking at them the same way. So I might set that to 1, which means that only the base orientation can be used. So I'm hitting R, which would rotate the entire screen. It's not working right now. If I change it to 3, then it's going to evenly distribute the angles between those 3 possible spaces, like so. And then that's pretty much it. I'm going to get into what's on your surfaces, etc. But that kind of covers those 3 areas, which are support for everything else that you're doing. In the next piece, we'll start to get into assets, components, and objects. Thanks, bye.